Hey, it is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really, say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Did you get your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal? I know you did. And because I know you did you do the work?
Yes,
It's one
ma'am.
thing to get it, but it is another thing to do the work. I am
Mhm.
going to challenge you to do the work. It will bless your whole life. And I want you to go back and get People Pusher. Get it. I'm telling you, these are reads that not just your reading, it is something that will change, help you develop into the woman or the man that you desire to be. It is not the be all and all of that. It is just to add to what you already have. And so I just want to just remind you to go over to pushyourlife.org and see what we are doing. Travel all through there, click buttons. We don't care. And if you have a question, do not forget in the chat that we have a super chat just for you to put your questions in. If you want someone to come back, we have space for that. But if you want to be a part of this community and you want to share your voice, then you have to go to pushyourlife.org and holler at your girl. We talk back. Some of y'all know that we do respond. We respond consistently. And so for you in the chat, I thank you. You could be anywhere, but you have chosen to push forward on this Wednesday at 6:30. And I so appreciate that. That is why I do what I do as the community of pushers. Push me, I am able to push other people. So without further ado, shout out to comedian Shelly Rock, who has 2 weeks ago volunteered to help out behind the scenes. Shout out to her. She is here doing that, staying committed to what she has volunteered to do. We definitely appreciate you tapping in and helping out comedian Shelly Rock. And check her out on May the 4th. She will be hosting and telling some good jokes at the Sanford and Son Play. Holla at your girl. So, without further ado, you know I like to maximize every second of every minute in this hour. And so, I don't like keeping secrets. And so, let me tell you right now, I don't really like introducing people. I want them to introduce themselves. So, what I will do is, what I will do is just say, no, I'm going to ask this gentleman to introduce himself. That is what I am going to do.
Well, good evening, everyone. Definitely, I want to say thank you to my sister, Asabi, for inviting me on her platform. It's definitely an honor to be here. I was fortunate enough to meet Asabi, I guess maybe a year or two ago, with the program that I was doing called the Bullpen. And the Bullpen was the platform was to bring on men and women who had been incarcerated and talk about their experiences, what it was like when making the transition from prison back into mainstream society. As myself, I'm a returning citizen. I've been home since I guess now going about 30 years now, and I made a pledge to myself that if God blessed me to make it out of prison, my healthy body, a sane mind, that I will continue to do His work. So I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor here in the state of Maryland. My background is counseling education. My practice is men behind bars, and I'm just so excited, in helping because my thing is that I realize we help ourselves by helping others. So whatever I can do to be a voice, a light, a guide to help someone, that is a blessing for me as well.
Okay, amazing. See, I could not have done that. That's why I wanted him to introduce himself before I go on to my little rant because I could not have done that. Not nowhere close. So yes, tap in. Hearing that he is out here doing amazing work, for sure. And knowing that where he comes from, his past of being incarcerated, and still deciding to be a part of someone else's reentry journey is definitely one to recognize. And so congratulations to you, sir, for being nominated to receive a presidential award. I had the privilege to be a part of that as support. Shout outs to What's Up Baltimore, Dr. Lady J. The ceremony was exceptional. It really was. I enjoyed myself. So congratulations to you, sir, for being a recipient of the presidential award. That's what's up. And I appreciate that these awards, what Lady Dr. Lady J does is just for men and women who were incarcerated. And it's just amazing to have someone who is willing to invest in a body of men and women and believe in what they are doing and willing to invest in what they are doing and shine a light on it. It is a big deal to me, because it lets me know that those that will be coming behind us will have an opportunity to do the things that we are doing, if not better. That is my desire, and have a place to go where they will not only just be recognized, but they will be utilized. So shout outs to Dr. Lady J from What's Up Baltimore.
No, I agree. I definitely like to send thank Dr. Lady J as well for nominating me and for blessing me with the opportunity to receive the award. It definitely was an honor and a pleasure to be there with, along with the men and and the women who received those awards. It's not always we're not always recognized for the work that we do in the community. Because many times we don't always beat our own drum. So a lot of work that we do, it's not really known by a lot of people. But the fact that she was able to take the time out and say, okay, she wanted to recognize us, it truly was a blessing. And I don't know if you made an announcement to your audience, but I want to say congratulations to you as well that you will be receiving the award. I hope I'm not stepping on your toes in May. And definitely, for the work that you've done. I mean, been fortunate enough to meet you early on I guess, in your career in terms of just working within the community since you've been home, and I've definitely seen the growth and what within yourself as well as what you brought to the community. So you're definitely deserving of that.
Yes. So no, we don't keep secrets in this community. They are not my audience. This is my family. They are a part of the community, and they are doing the self work, the internal work. And so I dare not descript them as an audience, because they're not spectators. I'm telling you, they are pushers. They are a body of men and women from not just Baltimore City. We got Hold up. Let me shout some of you people out. We got Atlanta in the building.
ATL, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, we have Atlanta. We have Texas in the building. My niece is in the building, y'all. She texted me and told me make sure I'm not on mute. So thank you. Shout out. See, they are active. They are active. They show up. They are talking to one another. They will ask you questions if you say something, if they don't understand something, if they need clarity, they will ask. And that is what this is about. Because if we were physically together, that is what it would be. And so we don't want to limit ourselves just because we are virtual and we can't physically see the people that are watching. But the people that are here that are watching with purpose and on purpose. And those that will watch in the future, I'm telling you, this ain't just anybody or people or random people or by happenstance. These people are consistent, and they bring other people along who then becomes consistent, and they are active, as you can see.
I like that. So I stand corrected. Definitely shout out to the family, and
Yes.
I'm glad to be a part of the family. Thank you.
Yes. So we got Breaker Man. No, I'm gonna tell you what he told me. He told me when I seen him on Sunday, and I told him that I'm looking forward, to having him on today. He said, "Come with it. I want all the smoke." So I'm letting y'all know that he said out his mouth that he wants all the smoke. So here we go. Breaking through barriers. So oftentimes when we hear that breaking through barriers, we go in our minds and we start thinking of barriers. We start thinking of different things. And sometimes when we are responding, we respond externally.
Right.
The things that we can touch, the people that we can see, but we never really go inward
Mm.
first. And most times, I can speak for me as it relates to breaking through barriers. It's much more easier for me to break through external barriers than it is internal barriers, which is why these kind of conversations is important to begin to normalize. And in order for me to actualize the things that I want my family, my village to understand and get, I have to be the example, because that's what I want for my life. So you teach people how to handle you. And so a level of accountability has to take place on this evening. We're talking about breaking through
Right.
barriers.
Right. That's right. Mm.
And so I want to go back because you were one. So first of all, he said something that I do not want to just roll past, that I was the first woman,
Exactly. That's right.
the first woman to speak on the bullpen that
Absolutely.
was designed for men. That's a big deal
Right. That's right.
for me to be the first. Why is that important? Because sometimes when you are the first, it's really not about you. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. It's really not about you.
Mm.
It's about you creating a standard or
Mm.
leaving an impression that will make room for someone else.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
See, oftentimes we become self-centered, and I'm talking about me, how I
Mm.
was self-centered and thinking that is about me and my needs and what I want. But really it's not about that. When you show up with an opportunity, you don't really, I didn't think about it like this back then. I'm getting it now, the more that I'm learning and the more that I'm growing. That opportunity that was created for me made way for somebody else, made it
Right.
easier for another woman to come, made it easier, especially another woman who was incarcerated,
Mm.
another woman who was looked at like you should know better, another woman who is looked at as you should be silent
Mm.
and just do what I say. So many women who probably were insecure like me, who probably was like, no one is going to listen to me. They know my past. They know where I come from. That woman, it gives that woman hope. It gives that woman courage. And so oftentimes I have found myself in positions, we talk about breaking through barriers. I
Mm.
found myself in the beginning of being free in situations where it caused me to create internal barriers for myself.
Mm.
And not knowing doing that, I'm blocking myself from receiving other first times,
Right. Right.
especially first times that I desire.
Mm.
And I'm gonna say my experience being on a bullpen, even though I was really being myself, um, with what I knew at that time and where I was, because I was like a fish out of water. I really didn't have a clue of what I was doing there or what I was going to say. But nonetheless, I appreciate, Brother Bakari for connecting us and giving me that opportunity, because I've been on there not one time, but
Mm.
two times.
Right. Right.
Um, and the second time was so that it could be balanced out so that they can hear from not only a man's perspective, but a woman's perspective at the same time. So that cohesiveness is, I was excited. And I thought that something great was going to come out of that. I'm optimistic. Remember, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a fish out of water.
Right.
And
Right.
then it just never happened. Like the Big Bang, it never happened. Why?
Mm. Mm. Well, I would say that like you said, we're talking about breaking barriers, and one of the things that you mentioned is very important is that we look at we look at the things that we face externally within society, and we say, okay, well, maybe I want to go to school, and maybe that's a barrier for some people. And we look at someone saying, maybe I want to, change professions. That's a barrier for some people. And we're taught to look outside of ourselves. But But I've been taught the greatest challenge and the greatest barrier that you're going to face is internally. That is the greatest struggle you're going to have. So for me, if you will, in keeping with the theme of the show, breaking barriers for me is that as a man raised up in the society and thinking as a man, I want to make sure that I was reflective in understanding that women are the other half of humanity. I'm not just saying that and there's a catchy phrase, but I realized as I've gotten older that we both play a part in in advancing who we are as a people, as a family, as a unit, as a husband and wife, as a society. And in what way can I give a voice, say, to not only say the women in my life, but a wife or my daughter or my sister, but also women that who may be my contemporaries in the context of in the community that I live in. So when you accepted to come on the show, breaking the bullpen, it was an honor for me as well because one, I wanted, I wanted the audience or the family, if you describe, I wanted them to hear your story. Like I said, I didn't know you, I didn't know what some of your challenges may have been, but I want you to tell your story, and I wanted also society to see that that you can overcome, if you will, whatever your, no matter how you start, it's how you finish, how you choose to finish, but being able to tell us in an authentic way, in an honest way, and saying this is who I am, and show courage because we are stigmatized by the fact that we've gone to prison, that we did time in prison, and even after to a greater degree, women are stigmatized more so because it's because of the in our society we have one set of rules for men and one set of rules for women. So to be able to say to come on the show and to tell your story and to talk about your experiences, what it helps me to better understand not only you as a person, but also better help me to better understand myself. And I think the reason why the show and what happened was during that particular time when I was doing the show, in my own personal life, I was in a situation in a relationship where the relationship did not work. And so I realized that in order for me to begin to heal from my experiences, is that I needed some time for myself. I had to disconnect myself from social media, I had to disconnect myself from many of my friends, not in a way of not wanting to be with them, but say I needed some time for me. And many times it's hard for us to separate ourselves in a way to make time for ourselves because we used to give in our time, our space, our other people, but we don't always make time for particularly as men. And for a lot of men, whether it's a conscious choice or they've been socialized not to go within themselves. And my thing was I wanted to heal. I did not want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt anymore. It was a relationship issue that I was in. It did not work. That was infidelity. And I was hurting. I was hurting. I'm not really a person. I am a private person. I don't necessarily talk about my private business to a lot of people. So, but for me, I said, well, let me separate myself. Let me turn to God, which I've always done because that was my pattern in prison is that whenever I found myself in a situation that where was challenging for me, I've always turned to God. God, what is it you want me to do? What do you want to look at the situation? And so at that particular time, during the bullpen, I had the bullpen, which I was very excited about, but also I was going through a very difficult time. Whereas that I needed an opportunity to find out what is it I was doing to myself. Because many times when we in difficult situations I'm saying in the context of relationships, some of us we blame the other person. Okay, well, this person did this to me, and I think we all have to be accountable for what we did. But for
Yeah.
me, I had to say, what is it I'm doing to myself? So that was the reason I would say that the primary reason that we went from being excited about the bullpen to all of a sudden becoming where I needed some time to just to really to heal, if you will.
I respect that. I definitely do. I do. So I am going to ask your permission because I did not know you was going to say all of that, and I did not know that, which is why this is so important. Normalizing what we in society call difficult conversations.
Right.
This is important to me because so First, I commend you because I don't get the privilege to hear um, from too many different men their perspective and how they deal with
Right.
their challenges. This does not have anything to do with being incarcerated.
Right.
Incarcerated.
Right.
This just has everything to do with being a human being,
That's it.
and to be able to hear how a man process is
Mhm.
important.
Right.
Um, However, I do have something to say with a follow up question. So I'm going to ask for your permission um, to respond because I definitely respect somebody. Hold up, something just caught my attention. Miss Veronica said, "I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing."
Mhm. No, but definitely ask me whatever you want to ask me, Sabi.
Uh, Men hurt as well.
Yes.
We need time for ourselves. Let me mind my business. Okay, so I definitely do have something to say. So, but first, I want to ask for your permission. Can I speak to you as a leader first
Sure.
before I speak to you with removing all the titles?
Yes. Yes.
Um, so, as a leader, um, rather you, I do have the privilege to know a little of your story as it relates to your incarceration and history behind, where you come from. I had the privilege to know that.
Yes.
And if people hear your story, they will be blown away because it's funny. You tell your story in a way in which it's like you don't know if the crowd will laugh. You don't really know what to do because it sends you on an emotional roller coaster. It's almost like a
Right.
movie because and then the way that you tell it becomes fascinating. Like, you really did that, you really is that kind of person, was that kind of person. But anyway, I say that to say, I said that I was excited because um once we did the show, we were talking, we were sharing, and
Mhm.
I was excited because, mind you, I'm a fish out of water.
Right.
I really don't know. So I feel like for the first time since being home, I found a village, some
Mhm.
people, a group of people to, kind of cultivate me and help me navigate through this. And although the one thing that I respect right now in this moment is that you sharing your vulnerability. But for
Mhm.
me, and I'm not saying that you owe me anything, but I want you to know that shut down and that pull away, which is needed, and we should do it.
Mhm.
But when you have people that are impressionable
Right.
like myself, and
Mhm.
that feels like I got purpose and somebody sees me and somebody believes in me, and then it just goes away
Mhm.
without a word, that is piercing
Right.
to someone's and I'm not even going to say
Mhm.
emotions, even though it is piercing to your
Mhm.
heart, but it's also piercing to your soul, especially if you're someone who is seeking
Right.
and you're hungry for something different, and
Mhm.
you are beginning to believe that you believe in your own value.
Mhm.
It's enough to set you back. So I gotta admit
Mhm.
and let you know that for a long time I was angry because I thought, what is it about me
Mhm.
that people would just drop the ball like that?
Mhm.
That people would listen to my ideas. They would tell me that they believe in me. They would hear my story and say, we got you. And
Mhm.
then they just go away. And
Right.
I didn't know that, what was going on. But
Right.
today, that even though all is well and all was
Mhm.
well, I went through what I went through, and got through it.
Mhm.
Nonetheless, because I am a woman, and I told you I never know how this is going to go
Right.
or
Right.
what's going to happen, but I believe in healing, and
Mhm.
I believe in my own healing. And because I don't want to live in unforgiveness, I don't want to live in anger, I don't want to live in that space, not even in secret. And
Right.
so, because I am at that place when I got the opportunity in love,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be willing to have the difficult conversation. And sometimes you just don't know how to have it.
Right.
And so, as I sit back and think, as a leader, I'm just asking you to just think, to just what to just give that some thought, food for
Mm-hmm.
thought, that when we feel a need, and I'm a leader, so I get it and I understand that sometimes, and maybe I didn't do a good job at communicating the need. Maybe I didn't do a good job. I don't know that. All I know is what I believed and what I desired was no more and no longer. And it kind of disrupt my footing. But God takes care of babies and fools, and I ain't no baby. So he takes good care of me because he came along and helped me realize that it's not just about me.
Right.
Um, but in order for me sometimes to know that it ain't just about me, I got to hear it sometimes that it ain't me, that I'm not the issue, that I'm not the problem. But the good thing is I'm healed and I don't live in that space. But I just wanted to let you know as a leader that sometimes it is good not to tell people your business, but to say not right now.
Right.
Because
No.
if we could communicate that part, the not right now, then we can disrupt someone's life, especially if you have been, many are called, but only a few are chosen. And
Mm-hmm.
so wherever you are on the spectrum, the call or chosen, God is still calling you. Either way. So wherever you at and whatever it is that you're doing, and when God gives you the responsibility of taking care of people,
You know
taking
that.
care.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say, Sabi, you're definitely right in what you're saying. And one of the things I want to do is, even though uh, it during the time when it happened, it would have been great on my part to have communicated that with you then. But now I would just like to say that a couple of things. One is that it was not you. You didn't do anything wrong. I know at the time, as you described, you were not in a place to understand what was fully taking place. And because you were vulnerable, because there were the space that you was in your own journey of healing, you needed more of a secure uh, support system around you to help you walk, if you will. And someone like myself, who obviously is older, who have been involved and been around, who has been in a leadership position, I've never experienced anything like this, what I experienced before in my life, meaning that as a man, to my knowledge, but
Mm-hmm.
it was the first time that where I had experienced a situation where I was in a relationship that where it was known that the woman that I was at the particular time was involved with someone else. And in, in instead of me saying that you're describing that, saying to Asabi or those around me, say, well, hey, not I need some personal time for myself without having to go into great detail. I just became absent, if you will. So it was not the best approach to do it in that way. Also, I did not take into consideration that I met someone like yourself, a young woman who had been incarcerated for a very long period of time, who was home and who was trying to find her way in life, that where how vulnerable you were. And so, and I did drop the ball on there. And for that, I do apologize, because even when we are going through our own personal time, we still have a responsibility to the people around me. I can't say to my daughter, I'm not going to feed you today because daddy is hurting. I can't say to my son, I'm not going to take you to football practice today because dad is hurting. I still have to find a way to make sure that I show up in their lives. So you're absolutely correct in what you're saying, that in the manner in which I did what I did was not the best possible way. And and I received that, and I'm learning from that. And many times we we pray to the Creator. God, I want to be this voice. I want this responsibility, meaning that I want to be able to to share with people. I want to be able to help people without knowing how great responsibility that is. Because
Mm-hmm.
in having that responsibility doesn't mean that you have to continue to grow within yourself. So when you're faced with a situation whether a loss of life, a loss of a sibling, loss of a job, when you're faced with what we say life changing circumstances, how do you manage that? How do you deal with that? And in many ways, so for me, I went and went in within myself and began to isolate myself, which wasn't necessarily the best possible way, but it was the way that I understood the particular time, because I didn't necessarily know what to do, how to find help. Because as a man, and not to make excuses for myself, but with men, we suffer in silence many times. We don't have a support group, if you will. We don't have brothers, being able to tell someone, hey man, the woman that I love was with someone else, because of shame that we carry. Because we don't want to be looked upon, because unfortunately, many times as men, we measure our manhood by the way in terms of how do we interact with the women in our lives. So now we go into silence, men suffer from depression. But I'm grateful to the Creator and God that I got to a place that I was able to open up, to some of my male friends around me. I was able to talk to some sisters around me and say, this is what's going on with me. And I was in a devastating place. So to say that, you were absolutely correct in what you're saying. I think when we take on responsibility of leadership, many times I can only imagine when I think about, we say the great leaders of the world, was the Dr. King, the Malcolm, the Sojourner Truth, the Harriet Tubmans, is that with that responsibility. Because many times we ask for something, but the thing, are we really ready for that responsibility? Because
Right.
it's more than just in saying, okay, well, hey, I'm a leader, and and I have this family, or I have these people around me who listen to me. But it's also, how do you deal with difficult times when you're going through things yourself? So you have to be correct in identifying that. And all I can say is that in learning from a lesson now, a lesson that I can learn from. So when the next incident happens, being better prepared to deal with situations of that kind. So I definitely applaud you for that.
Wow. Appreciate you again. I see. I told you this community is, they are in the chat, and so I just want to read a couple responses. Lots of time men don't acknowledge their feelings because some of them were taught it's a sign of weakness, but it takes a strong man to show how they really feel. That is from Lamanda Smith. Shout out to you. And so I just, betrayal, Michelle says, betrayal will do that. Speaking about when you were saying when you were going through, um, you just look, it's just like you take flight. You
Yeah.
just go. And it happens. It really do. And it's life. But to what's important and what I can appreciate is how you bounce back from that.
Yes.
Do you reconcile things that became unreconcilable? Do you forgive those things that seem unforgivable? How do you reconcile with that? So I definitely appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty. Diamond says, when you're in unfamiliar territory, you may not know how to communicate, respond to others. That is so true. In reference again, you said that you had never been there before. You never been in that place. And so I think what is echoing um, is the fact that you are speaking your truth, and we don't get this a lot of times
Right.
from the male's perspective. Women are very good at speaking their truth,
Right.
especially those women who were silent for so long, and now today that they have discovered their voice, they speak their truth clearly. But we really don't hear too much from the men's perspective as it relates to being vulnerable and sharing that part. So this village definitely communicates, definitely appreciate you. Veronica says, nothing that people do is about you. I believe that was in reference of what I said. that took place in the past. Connecticut is in the building. When Lady Winsome says, powerful testimony, Brother King. Thank you. Thank you. And so, yes, they are showing up. If you have any questions that you want to ask, please put them in the chat. As Michelle has asked. Angela says, breaking barriers and helping others break through as well is powerful. Yes, it is. And so this is why Veronica again says, you just helped so many people be free, and thankful for you not staying in that space. Yes, yes. Brandy says, I am grateful to be hearing your vulnerable testimony. Yes, that is something that what Veronica has said that I definitely want to highlight, is that so many people are listening or watching. Man, women, we don't discriminate either or, but mainly in this moment, a man. I had the privilege when I came home, someone had texted me and said, your brother is on something. Can I call you? And at first I'm like, girl, but then I ended up FaceTiming her and through Messenger, and one of the first faces I seen was my brother's. And so I'm not sure if he's listening or watching, but he needs to hear that.
Yeah.
He needs to see that. Why? Because he will be coming from a place where it doesn't exist. And then when you come out here, and especially as it relates to interacting with women, you want to be able to learn how to communicate even through difficulty, even when you're hurt, even when you're going through, because everyone looks at women and just think women are emotional, think women are just in pain and hurting. But we don't oftentimes take the time to really look and say, men hurt too.
Yes. Yes.
Men got feelings too. But if the men don't talk about it, if the men are not willing to say, look, you hurt my feelings,
yeah,
how do you expect a woman to know that what she said or how she said it was hurtful? You understand what I'm saying? So we're dealing with a community where we have to learn how to effectively communicate. And I believe the one way of learning how to effectively communicate is that you just speak your truth.
Right.
And whatever your truth is, because truth is neither right or wrong. And then we can exchange healthy communication, because no one is in the conversation with an idea of anything other than my truth. I'm going to listen to your truth, and you're going to listen to my truth. This is not about right or wrong. Rather, if it's the truth, ain't the same or nothing. So that is the journey, to be able to get to a place where Veronica said, how do you advise other men in your previous situation? That is a good question.
Yeah.
So what you've been going through, you weathered a storm, and you got through it. And apparently you didn't bounce back, because we see you on the scene. We see you out here. So how do you advise other men that may be going through or secretly going through this kind of situation?
I would say that for the family to understand that this took place in 2022, and we're in 2025 now. So for me, I look at it in the context of the day that I found out about the infidelity. And so in the first year, I made many mistakes. In the first year is that because when either man or woman, it doesn't necessarily matter to say whichever person that cheated, whether the male cheated or whether the woman cheated, is that two things happen. You have one person fight for the relationship, and you have one person fight for themselves. And many times that, now this is when you get in situations where people may not necessarily be in a both best healthy state. So the mistakes that I made was that I was fighting for a relationship with someone who no longer wanted to be in the relationship. So the mistakes I made was by going to the person and saying, well, hey, this is what I would like to have. I'm prepared to do, because as I was taught, saying, you fight for your family, you fight for your relationship. And I wanted to be that man. I wanted to be that guy. And I'm still that guy. And one of the blessings I feel is that I'm glad that I did not allow that experience to make me a bitter person. But at the time going through it, I had to go through the process of understanding that there's a healing process. So within the first year, so my advice to men is that now that I've gone through it is, and it's going to be very difficult to do, because when someone leaves you, cheats on you, whatever the reason may be, uh, you you want an explanation. You want to know what happened, why did it happen, and what can I do to make it better. So for me, the things that I would say is that to a man or one who's going through the situation, the first thing that I would say to do, having gone through that, is that really you have to make time for you. Now, what does that look like? Meaning that if a person says to you, well, look, I don't want to be in a relationship, I want to be with someone else, as hard as it may be, you have to honor what that person is saying. Because what is happening at a particular moment, that person, that man or the woman, has become involved with something else, and there's nothing literally you can say to that person at a particular time, which I did not know that at the particular time, meaning that once the person makes a decision they want to be with someone else, there's very little that you can do. So to the man who's going through that, I would say, well, my brother, if your queen, your wife, your girlfriend says to you she wants to be with someone else, it's going to be hard, because now there's a disconnect. And see, this is where the trauma sets in. We don't talk about the traumatic experience that when they disconnect, because for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you've been connected with a person whom you believe loved you, cared about you, and have your best interests at heart. When that person says, I want to be with someone else, there's a disconnect that takes place in your nervous system, a physiological thing that where there's a flight or fight response. So you either lean into the person and you ask a lot of questions, what happened, what did I do wrong, or you lean away from the person and begin to isolate yourself. And I did both. I leaned in, what has happened, but also I leaned away. So for the men, I would say the first thing you do is that once you go through that experience, make time for yourself, which is going to be very difficult to do, but really talk to someone about what you've experienced, whether it's a brother, whether it's a clergy person, a minister, someone who's going to say to you, what is it that you're feeling? What is it that you're experiencing at this very moment? Because I would say the wrong thing to do, or the unhealthy thing to do, is go to the person who's made the decision that they don't want to be with you. There's a saying is that you can't heal in the place that made you sick. And this is something that when we're hurt, we go back to the person that made us sick, if you will, go back to the environment that made us sick, and you cannot heal within that environment. So making time for yourself is I would say is the healthy thing to do. But when you're hurting, you want to stop the pain, and the one person in your mind you think can stop the pain is the person that hurt you. But it's an oxymoron, because the person that hurt you is saying is that I don't want to be with you. So you speak with someone who's willing to listen. Because many times you just want to talk to someone, but also understand as a man you're going to feel shame. You're going to feel that there's something wrong with as a man. You feel something because unfortunately as men, the way we've been raised, many of us to think that our manhood is connected with our sexual prowess. So if another man's being with our wife or our girlfriend, that means I lack something sexually. And many times it has nothing to do with the man. It just has more to do with where she is, or vice versa, where the man is. And my thing is that in this particular situation, whereas a woman cheats on a man, many times we think that she's in love, she's being with someone because he's a better lover. Don't have to be he has more money, he looks better. Immediately we think that he's a better lover because we've been raised as men, unfortunately, to think that if we satisfy her sexually, she's not going anywhere. But see, that's a very misconception. So I had to learn that it wasn't me. I wasn't necessarily the problem. And many times that yes, we all in a relationship, we go through situations where we talk about how do we maintain the spice in the relationship. So that happened within any relationship. you become familiar with someone. You want to make sure that you have a healthy sexual intimacy with someone, so that happens. But when a person makes a decision to be with someone else, that is a long decision. It takes two people to maintain the relationship. One person makes a decision to cheat. So I'm responsible for the relationship. She's responsible for the cheating part, but we're both responsible for the relationship. And I can say to myself, okay, what is it I could have done differently? What are the things that I could have done that could have contributed more? So I have to look at that, get to a place to say, objectively saying, yes, aside from the cheating part, what is it that I could have done within the relationship that would have gave us a better opportunity to work through what we've gone through? Whether you talked about, say, the emotional intelligence. So was I able to communicate in times to where maybe she may have asked me something about what's going on with, and maybe I didn't communicate that effectively, or maybe she wasn't able to do that. So many times the relationship, the infidelity is just an alarm to say something is going on within the relationship. And I think one of the misconceptions is that when they, with unfortunately among men, is that when that happens is we internalize it, we isolate ourselves, and we don't really want to talk about, which is a terrible mistake. So being one, I'm very blessed that I had my mother's deceased now, but I had a very brief relationship with my mother. I have three older sisters, so it's never been hard for me to talk about, my thoughts, my feelings, what's going on with me, because that is healthy to me. That's the environment I come out of. How do you speak about what's going on with you? So that part was easy. The hard part was internally for me and baby to get past the idea that in blaming myself for something decision that she made, and that is the hard part, because we as men, we don't want to face that. We want to think that we the Superman, and that we can basically we can do no wrong when it comes to our wives and girlfriends, and that wasn't the case. Even if that was the case, I'm saying, but still, a decision to be made to be with someone else obviously was a selfish decision to make. But we deal with selfish people sometimes, and so for me, I had to learn. Say, okay, well, now I have to think about me. What is it I need to do in order to heal myself? So the question being asked, one is I would say to a man, when that occurs, if you can, once she makes a decision, give her that space, because she's saying to you at that moment is, I don't want to be with you, and there's nothing you can say to change her mind. I tried to force myself on her when she made that decision. It was a mistake. Now I understand that when she made the decision, I don't want to be with you, I respect your space, and then I will go take care of me. The second thing is to speak with someone, to talk about what's going on with you and not suffer in silence. The third thing is to look within yourself and say, what is it that you need to do to make sure that you validate yourself and you're not being validated by someone else. Because the mistake that I made was an aspect of it was that my validation came from being with her as opposed to being validating myself.
Right.
So that would be the top three things is to give her space, make time for yourself, and validate whatever it is inside you that you need for yourself, and do not ever give that to anyone, whether you're a man or a woman. Your validation comes from you.
Wow. Let's all inhale and exhale and let that process, because that was a lot and it was powerful. Yeah, so much wisdom. That's why this was important, Brandy. That's why this was important. Brandy says, speaking so much truth as a married woman, it's not about sex for me. It's about attention, love, intimacy, and connection. Sade says, this is everything. So true. All caps, everything. Angela says, nailed it. Yes. Coco says, give yourself some grace. Yes. Thank you. Coco also says, you talking. So I thank you for answering. You actually answered both questions, Veronica Jackson. Veronica, talk about that. You can't heal in a place that make you sick. So you kind of, and before we go back to that, Michelle asked, can you give three lessons that you have learned from your experience? And I believe you just dropped that. You just gave us that, and that was powerful. On behalf of everyone, I'll just say thank you for that. I know it has gave a lot of clarity and help some people appreciate that. But you stated that you can't heal in a place that make you sick. What do
Right.
you mean by that?
So I
Because that's
want you,
saying something.
yeah, yeah. So I want you to think about an analogy to where is that you're in a you're in a home, if you will. You're in a home, and within that home, there is a physical virus that's taking place within that home, but you live within that home, but you recognize that for whatever reason that you're just not in a healthy state because of the virus that is within the home. It is the virus that's causing you to be sick, but yet you don't want to leave your home because this is a place of comfort. This is a place of solitude, if you will. This is a place of refuge, but it's the very place that is causing you to be unhealthy. So you step outside of that environment at home. So what has to take place within the home is the home now has to become, I'm going to use for lack of a better word, the home has to become disinfected, if you will. So the virus has to be removed from within the home in order for you to be able to go back into the home to be able to have a healthy state of life. So within a relationship, if you're in a relationship that is causing you pain, discomfort, uncertainty, a lack of peace, it is the relationship that is causing you to be sick. So that sick relationship is not going to cause you to heal. You step outside the relationship in order to heal. Now the healing take place, say, within a place of solitude, say within yourself. You realize, okay, well, what I need to do is, for me, for myself, like being a spiritual being, is turn to God and ask the question, God, what is it that I need to do to get to a healthy state of mind, to get to a healthy state, a healthy body, if you will, that where now I can truly begin to serve you, not to serve you, but not allow my heart to become a disease, meaning that I don't want my heart to be filled with hatred. I don't want my heart to be filled with anger. I don't want my heart to be filled with resentment. I don't want my heart to be filled with no with bitterness. So I have to step outside of that place that caused a great deal of pain in order for me to begin to heal a potential a diseased heart. So the place that very well made you sick, made you cause you a great deal of pain, you have to step outside of that. And many times we stay in an environment in a relationship, the very thing that's causing a great deal of pain. So you can heal within a sick relationship. So both people. So now the 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 the, the, the contrast that is that if the person say is open, whomever it may be, the man or the woman said, well, look, how can I help you in this moment? That where even though I see you in a great deal of pain, what is it that I can do? Because in my particular situation, there's what we call there's the unfaithful and there's the betrayer. We both have a responsibility. The person who did the betrayal has to understand is that they've caused a great deal of pain through their actions. The person who's been betrayed has to understand is that whatever that person is going through, how do we get to a place of understanding? Meaning that I don't know what you're going through that caused you to make the decision that you made. And that is the journey you have to take within yourself to figure that out. But if we're going to make things work, we both have to get to a place what you talked about. And the question is about emotional intelligence. You have an open and candid conversation about what is taking place. And my thing is that if one person is willing to do that, and the other person not willing to do it, whether man or woman, then obviously it's not going to work. So for
Right.
me, is that getting to that place to where once you understand that if I stay in this house, I'm only going to become worse in my situation. So I remove myself out of the environment that's causing me a great deal of pain. So simply, that's basically what it means is you can't heal in the very place that has made you sick.
Right. Wow. Again, a wealth of knowledge. You see why I was so disappointed? You see why I was like, why? So much wisdom and not only that, but I appreciate your struggle. I appreciate your going through because you got through it,
Yes.
and now you are at a place where you can share it, and it's helping other people, and that is what this is about.
Right.
That is what this healing 1 million people, one person at a time. As always, I start with myself. That's why we started this initiative, because I wanted people to see that this is real life and we're dealing with people, the matters of the heart.
Right.
And if we can't get the heart right, it is no way in the world we can be as effective as we want to be. It'll have a honeymoon stage, but it ain't going to last,
Right.
because the heart is always going to reveal itself. And which is why I believe it's so important to embrace having difficult conversations. I believe it is important because this is how I heal myself.
Right.
This is a part of me doing the work. People need to see what it sounds like. People needs to hear and be a part of the exchange, to see that you can have an unpleasant feeling and still be respectful when you are expressing yourself.
That's right.
You can have a healthy conversation and tell another person, if that person is healed. Got to be another healed person.
Right. That's
It
right.
has to be another person that is open and that is ready to move in that direction. It is impossible to have a healthy conversation with someone who is unhealthy, with
Right.
someone that is thinking unhealthy, with someone that is moving in an unhealthy way, and you are in a pace and moving in a direction of healing, growing, moving, navigating, shifting. But the whole time you're moving and navigating and shifting and making decisions and turning left and right, you're pushing forward.
Mhm.
You're
That's right.
pushing forward. And
Right.
as you push forward, people are watching.
Mhm.
People are listening, not just the naysayers, but there are people that want what you have. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying want what you have as give me what you got. People are struggling. They've been where you've been and still feel hopeless. They
Right.
going through what you've been through and feel like ain't no way. But when they see you, when they hear you,
Mhm.
oh, a leader, a well-known, respected leader in many communities. You struggle?
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
mean? You got issues?
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
mean by that? And then it becomes, oh, hold up. Wait a minute. They imperfect too.
Right. That's right.
They got issues too. So it alleviates and it helps unpack the pressure that we put on one another in our community. And it
Mhm.
helps us be able to communicate in a level in which we are respecting each other's space. We are respecting each other's voices, and we are respecting what the journey, because that's what this life is a journey of learning and growing and
That's right.
um and having dominion over everything that God has put before you. And
Mhm.
I'm saying this has definitely been incredible. This has been, I've learned some stuff. And
Mhm.
so my heart is satisfied. And I want to tell you in the community, I want you, oftentimes, especially our young people, shout out to the babes that are here. But there's one person in particular that I hope that you hear and that you receive this conversation as you realizing that you are enough,
Right.
and
That's right.
that you realize that your growth and development is your growth and development,
That's
and
right.
everybody can't go where you're going. Oftentimes, we stay stuck in situations out of obligation. We stay stuck in situations out of our own selfish reasons. We
Right.
stay stuck in situations, and it's like we find ourselves on that hamster wheel
Mhm.
over and over again. Well, hello.
Mhm.
I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I was not create. I'm too cute to be a hamster. So I'm getting off the wheel. I don't want to be on the wheel anymore. And so I'm telling you, get off the wheel and embrace and tap inward, forward ever, backwards never. Make the decision and do what you got to do for you, because everything that this brother has spoken and said as it relates to his truth is for you to. Male, female, it does not matter. It is for you, those that may find themselves in even this kind of situation that he been through. And he told you what he didn't do and what he did do. And I am encouraging you to make the decision. Yeah, so you in the chat, I love y'all so much. I really do. Like I always say, and I thank you, sir. I thank you for going along. As I told you at the beginning, it's an organic conversation. I told you this is a family. This is a village. They are active. That's right, Brandy. Forward, ever, back was never. I know most of these people personally, and everybody does not live in Baltimore, Maryland. Lady Wisdom, clapping hard to this. We appreciate you, Brother King. She done gave you a new name, Brother King.
I appreciate that. No, I thank you. Thank you, Asabi.
All the way from Connecticut. Yes, yes, sir. Go ahead. What you was gonna say?
No, I was just going to say no. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate your platform. Appreciate being able to speak with the family and just share my experiences. And as you said, I hope God's will, someone be able to take it and that will help them to get through whatever they're going through in their life in this particular situation. I embrace conversation. I've always said that is that all we have is each other, meaning that it's just you as a woman, me as a man, and we have to figure out a way to be able to communicate with one another. It can be a difficult conversation, it can be a hard conversation, but we have to be able to sit down and say, yes, it hurts. This is my first time having this conversation. I don't know what's going to be the outcome of, but I am willing to face it with you. I'm not going to run from it. And that's been my thing is that for me, the blessing has been that with God is that one thing I did not want to happen, which I've seen happen to so many men, I did not want the situation to make me into something that I wasn't, meaning that I always wanted to be a child of God. I always wanted to be a man of God. And I did not want to be a man to come out of this and all of a sudden now I hate women, I'm bashing women. I did not want to be there. Not that I thought that I would become that person, but that was very important to me is that be able to look at myself, to look at the time, the woman that I was involved with, and just be and have an honest conversation with myself. I still love women. I still love relationship. I still believe in marriage. I still believe in family. So that's what I'm most proud of is that I didn't allow prison to turn me into something that I know that I wasn't. And so for me, that's the biggest lesson.
I know that's right. Again, so much wisdom and so much conviction and passion. And we, in the Pusher community, we welcome you to the community, to the family. We welcome you. And so, as always, if you would like to hear from Brother King, we then gave him a nickname. If you would like to hear, if you have a question, you know what to do, go to pusherlife.org. What you do have books.
Yes.
What is the name of your books?
Well, I will show, actually I have 3 books. So my first book this is entitled Transition Therapy. Of course, this particular book is about, how to address the issues of men and women who've been incarcerated and how they transition back into the community. So this book it was a book written for mental health specialists, if you will. The second book has to do with men. It's putting your dog to sleep, euthanizing the cheating desire within men. I want to talk about because an issue that I believe that is that for so many men, including myself, who've gone through that process of infidelity, how do you come to terms with them, and how do you remove that from your being because of what it does? Does to your individual self, what it does to your family, to your children, to the wife, to the community. So I wrote this book. It was a book written for men and calling out men to say, how do you go within yourself and begin to address that particular issue where you can overcome the cheating desire that take place within you? And this is my latest book. It's entitled called Feeding Your Cat, a woman's guide to healthy sexual intimacy. This book came out of the pain, if you will, the relationship that I was in when I was cheated on. So it made me begin to really go back and think about, okay, what was my learning experiences? What did I learn from that? And what is it I can share, with my daughter? I have my oldest daughter is 48 years old. I have a daughter that's 21. I have a daughter that's, that's 5. So I wanted to write something to say, baby, okay, from a man perspective, I want to leave you something to say that, because I know the world is saying one thing, but I'm saying as a man is saying something else. I can't tell you how to be a woman, but what I can say is, as a man, this is what I would prefer within a relationship. You can't tell me how to be a man, but you can say as a woman, this is what I would like to see within my husband. So this book right here is entitled "Feeding Your Cat: a Woman's Guide to Healthy Sexual Intimacy." Talks about just addressing some of the issues that I see as an elder, as an older man. There's some of the challenges that we're dealing with in the community among women, and just from my perspective, saying, okay, sister, I see what's happening in the community. Did you think about this right here? So
great. So there you have it. You see how you can get to his books if you want to purchase it. I do have 2 of the books. I do. They are good reads. I wrote all in mine because it's mine. So you might not want to borrow mine. So yes, you see his website. Go get those books. They are will definitely help you understand if you are working with or have family members that has been incarcerated. It definitely will help you deal with some of the psychological challenges that you might not understand. It definitely is one that will help you. So you in the chat, we did start on time. I so appreciate you. You know, when we start on time, I like to end on time, but unfortunately we are a couple of minutes over. I appreciate your time, which is why I am slowing it down. And I want to appreciate everyone for showing up. Where to buy the book on his website, I will text it to you. Veronica, I will get you his website. Noblemanpublishing.com. That is how you can. Yes, sir.
let me say real quickly, Asabi, that the only book that you can get Nobleman Publishing is Putting Your Dog to Sleep. But if you'd like to get a copy of Feeding Your Cat or Transition Therapy, you can email me directly and I will be able to get your copies. Email me, obviously, the address where you want to be mailed, and I will be able to mail you. Because the Nobleman Publishing, is a website. So the only book is available there is just Putting Your Dog to Sleep. But the other 2 books, you can email me directly to Yahoo357 at hotmail.com.
Do you have books on that?
Yes, I do. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So those that are interested that I see all the time, I will definitely make sure that they get a copy. We can just get it. We don't have to go through all of that.
Yeah.
We can just purchase it directly from you. And so, yes, thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again. Shout out to Queen Shelly Rock. Repeat the email again. Can you give your email address out, please?
Yeah. So the email address is Uhuru, is UHURU 357 at hotmail.com. That's Uhuru 357 at hotmail.com.
Got it. Coco says, we appreciate you. Brandy said, thank you, Mr. Max. Look, they tried. They still holding on.
Yeah.
Angela, thank you for sharing. Yes, yes. The community appreciate your wisdom, appreciate your vulnerability, your honesty, your transparency. That is what we look for. And God doesn't place anyone before these people, I believe, that is not at that place where they can share their healing journey, because that's what this is about. And so I do believe that God knows all and sees all, and he does works everything out for the good. And so, yes, with that said, I appreciate check out Queen Shelly Rock, May the 4th, who will be emceeing and dropping them jokes on May the 4th during the Saffron and Son stage play. So yes, if you have not gotten your tickets, get your tickets. Everybody's on Facebook. It's plastered everywhere. So yeah, get your tickets. And I will be nominated for our presidential award. Again, what's up, Baltimore? So I definitely appreciate that. In the meantime, between time, do not forget to like and share this episode. This is season 2, episode 5. People, we are pushing forward, and it is getting greater and greater. Feel like we on an escalator, right? Just God just got us going here and here and He just keep blessing us. And so we just thank you all. Thank you all for showing up, for pushing forward. Thank you for being brave with your questions, your comments. Thank you for pushing. Thank you for your encouraging words, your positive affirmations. I love this village. It is the best village in the city of Baltimore on YouTube right now. So don't forget, next week, grab a friend, tell somebody to tell somebody. And if you want to see Brother King again, you have to go to PUS'HERlife.org and let me know that you would like to have him again. You know, we appreciate everybody's time. And so with that said, you have any final words to the people? I'll give them to you because in 30 seconds we will be.
So I would just say again, thank you, Sabi, for having me on. Thank you to the family for listening and encouraging me with your kind words. It was a pleasure, and whatever I can do to continue to support what you're doing, please feel free to reach out to me. And I got you.
It is your girl Pusher. If you're not pushing forward, you're moving backwards. Say it out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. No, really say that thing out loud. Forward ever, backwards never. Have you gotten your copy of It Takes One to Know One workbook and journal and people pusher? No, then travel over to PUS'HERlife.org, go to the author's page, and you will find It Takes One to Know One and People Pusher. Come tap in.